The recent NASCAR race at Atlanta Motor Speedway became a topic of intense discussion due to its dramatic conclusion. Christopher Bell clinched the victory in a manner that left us fans and drivers debating the outcome. Many people expected a dramatic finish, but instead, the race ended under a caution flag. Some fans were frustrated, while others thought NASCAR made the right decision. The way Bell secured his win, combined with Carson Hocevar's aggressive moves, led to heated discussions among drivers. NASCAR's handling of late race cautions has been inconsistent, making this situation even more complicated. Bell was driving his number 20 Toyota and was not the favorite to win. Chevrolet cars had dominated most of the race, with Austin Cindric, Kyle Larson, and William Byron controlling the top positions. But as the race neared the final laps, things started to change. With less than 10 laps left, Larson made contact with Cindric, sending him into the wall. That crash also involved Byron, bringing out the caution flag. When the race restarted with just 2 laps to go, Bell was in a great position. He was right behind Larson, while Hocevar was behind Ross Chastain. The restart was intense. Hocevar made a bold move, deciding not to push Chastain and instead moving up the middle. This opened an opportunity for Bell, who pulled alongside Larson. The white flag waved, signaling the final lap. Hocevar then made another aggressive move, trying to create a 3-wide battle for the win. The race was shaping up to have an exciting finish, just like last year's Atlanta race. But then, chaos struck again. A crash happened further back in the field, leading NASCAR to throw the caution flag. At that moment, Bell was ahead of both Hocevar and Larson. Because the caution ended the race, NASCAR immediately declared Bell the winner. Many fans were disappointed. They wanted to see a close finish, especially after the Daytona 500 just a few weeks earlier. At Daytona, NASCAR allowed the race to continue despite a crash involving the leaders. But this time, officials took a different approach. Just a day before this Atlanta race, NASCAR had received criticism for how they handled a crash in the Xfinity Series event. During that race, cars were allowed to drive through an accident site, which led to complaints about safety. Because of that, officials decided to be more cautious in the Cup Series race. The moment the yellow flag came out, the race was over. Some fans believed this was the right call for safety reasons, while others argued that NASCAR should have let the race finish under green. Bell celebrated his victory, calling it a dream moment. He admitted that superspeedway racing had been difficult for him in the past, but he was happy with how his team performed. He credited his crew for making adjustments that kept him in the fight. His win marked his 11th career Cup Series victory, but not everyone was thrilled. Many drivers were frustrated with how the final laps played out. Carson Hocevar found himself in the middle of controversy after the race. His aggressive moves had affected the outcome, and several drivers were not happy about it. Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney confronted him on pit road, accusing him of making risky moves that disrupted the final laps. Hocevar admitted he needed to clean up his driving but did not share details about those private conversations. However, he did apologize to Kyle Larson and the Hendrick Motorsports team. Hocevar explained that he did not realize they were not racing back to the finish line. He said he had tried to push Bell forward but made a mistake in the process. His goal had been to win his first NASCAR Cup Series race. He had a chance to make a big move heading into Turn 3, but the caution flag took that opportunity away. He later said he learned a lot from the race and still needed to improve his driving in certain situations. Despite this controversy, he praised his team, Spire Motorsports, for putting him in a competitive position. The ending of the race left a lot of questions. NASCAR's handling of late race cautions has been inconsistent. At Daytona, they led the drivers' race to the finish even after a crash involving the leaders. But in Atlanta, they ended the race immediately. This inconsistency frustrated many fans. Some believe NASCAR made the right call for safety reasons, while others thought the race should have continued under green. Bell's victory added another chapter to his growing career. He had struggled on superspeedways before, but this time, he executed his strategy perfectly. His crew played a big role in keeping him competitive. The final restart put him in a great position, and when the caution came out, he was the leader. Although some people questioned the way he won, Bell had done everything he needed to secure the victory. Meanwhile, Hocevar's aggressive driving style became a major talking point. Some drivers respected his willingness to take risks, but others felt he needed to be more careful. He had shown a lot of potential but still had areas to improve. His mistake in the final laps may have cost him a shot at his first Cup Series win, but he took responsibility for his actions and acknowledged that he needed to make better decisions in future races. Another major moment was the late race crash involving Josh Berry. As he lost control and swerved across the track, NASCAR officials decided to throw the caution flag. This decision changed everything. At that moment, Bell was leading, so he was declared the winner. Fans had been hoping for a side-by-side battle to the finish line, but the caution ended that possibility. Some people understand the need for safety, while others feel NASCAR should do more to ensure races end under green. It is a debate that has happened many times before, and it will continue in the future. But if there was one driver who got the most attention after the race, it was Carson Hocevar. He finished second, which is a great result, but it was the way he raced that had people talking. Hocevar has built a reputation as an aggressive driver, and this race was another example of that. He made bold moves throughout the event, pushing his way through the field. His driving style left several veteran drivers frustrated. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, and Ross Chastain all had issues with him during the race. Blaney was particularly upset. On lap 203, Hocevar made contact with him while they were battling near the front. Blaney was able to keep his car under control, but he was furious on the radio. He told a spotter that Hocevar had no idea what he was doing and called him a weapon on the track. Blaney is an experienced driver who has won big races, so when he speaks out, people listen. Busch was even angrier. Early in the race, he complained about Hocevar's driving multiple times. He called him a douchebag over the radio and was frustrated that Hocevar kept making the same mistakes. Busch even said he didn't care if he wrecked the entire field because he was so fed up. When a two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion reacts like that, it shows how much frustration Hocevar is causing. Chastain also had an issue with Hocevar. After the race, he confronted him, but whatever was said between them did not leave Chastain satisfied. It was clear that Hocevar's aggressive style was rubbing many drivers the wrong way. Despite all the criticism, Hocevar did not back down. When asked about his driving, he defended himself. He said he's not in NASCAR to make friends. He made it clear that he's here to win races, not to be nice to other drivers. But he did admit that he still has a lot to learn. He acknowledged that racing at the front was a new experience for him and that he needs to improve. Hocevar's second-place finish was impressive, but it came at a cost. He made some enemies along the way. In NASCAR, aggressive drivers often find themselves in tough situations. Some become legends by pushing the limits, while others struggle because they make too many enemies. Hocevar is at a crucial point in his career. If he keeps frustrating veteran drivers, he could find himself in trouble in the future. Another thing this race showed is how aggressive drivers can be in the final laps. When a race is coming to an end, drivers take big risks. Sometimes those risks lead to victory, and other times they lead to disaster. Hocevar's moves were risky, and while he didn't crash himself, he played a role in how the race ended. Blaney and Chastain were not happy with him, and it will be interesting to see if this frustration carries over to future races. NASCAR is a sport where anything can happen. One moment, a driver can be leading, and the next, everything can change. This is what makes it so exciting to watch. The Embedder Held 400 was proof of that. Whether fans agreed with how it ended or not, they were left with plenty to talk about. And in NASCAR, that is always a good thing. Finally, that's all we have for today's episode. Don't forget to give this video a like, smash that subscribe button, and also ring that notification bell while you're down there.